Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm very happy to be here and very happy to discuss this subject that you and I are dealing with today. Very important, and it's very good that you and I should deal with this subject that we're dealing with today, and to understand that the document that Donald Trump has is a righteous document. Project 2025, there should not be one black man or black woman that's against that project, because the project itself is a righteous document. And I know right now that there are brothers and sisters that are angry with me right now for having the courage to say so. But I bet there isn't one person that has truly read this document. Not one. And in essence, the only people that have a real problem with this document are the people who are keeping up the facade of this new definition of family and the new definitions of relationship. Everything that is liberal in America has a problem with this document because of the desire to set a liberal mind. Those that would like to increase same-sex marriage has a problem with this document. These are the people that have a problem with it. Those that are against traditional families, such as men and women producing children, they would have a problem with this document. But no self-respecting individual would have a problem with this document. So, and I said that to say this, that the black man should be happy, not because of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump isn't for the black man. He isn't for the black man, but you should be happy that everything is out front now. That should make you happy. That you don't have to wonder any longer about the mindset, about the time and what must be done, and about the mission, if you're black, that you should be a part of. And I'm not going to keep you all night on this because I just want to touch up on it, and then I'm going to let it go. But I want to interest you to whet your taste buds. This document has 11 features that I think you would appreciate, and that you would simply appreciate the 11 features of this particular document. Now, brothers and sisters, don't forget, I'm going to do my commercial on it. Don't forget that we do have the holistic health guide and the holistic health link that I think would help you. And I want to be able to put this in our feed because I believe it would help you so you could get natural help. You don't need anything artificial. You don't need anything artificial. You need some natural health and natural help in your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit that will deliver you in times when your body is overtaxed by things in the atmosphere, things through the atmosphere, things that have landed on earth, if you understand what I'm saying. Today we got to be creative to say it a certain way on the internet. Today we have to be creative, because if you're not creative, then there's the AI man. I call it the AI man. This is a created system. Created system will blot you out. Everything is turning over to AI, which is another problem. But that's something for another day. Sure you would agree that that's a subject for another time. But nonetheless, for those of you that want non-genetic modified products, you want something natural, put it in the feed for you so you would have it. Also, brothers and sisters, get educated and get smart. I tell you to get educated, but also tell you to get smart. You need to be getting in this education and getting in the know-how of how to do these herbal treatments and herbal directions that will help regulate your body to its maximum potential. That is thinking, being, acting, and all of that to your maximum potential of righteousness and spirituality and even eschatological intelligence. Because you're going to need that. You're going to need celestial intelligence, terrestrial intelligence, and you're going to need astrological intelligence as well. So you need to be learning about the geography and geology, right? As it relates to you, as it relates to who you are, as it relates to your people, because you can never be too healthy. There's nothing worse in this world than brothers and sisters having a desire to do good, but not having the knowledge. You have the desire to help brothers and sisters. The desire is there, but you don't have the knowledge. And some are saying, well, I don't have the knowledge because nobody's taught me. Well, we have the education for you. In case you would like to learn, we have that education for you. And we're going to make sure that you're able to access this. Because that's very important that you're able to access it. We have not because we ask not. Our people perish for the lack of knowledge. This is what the ancestors have told us time and time again. Time and time again. So I want to make sure that these things are in there for you. So if you have it, you can't say, well, the brother, he taught us, but he didn't give us anything that we could use. If you can't use anything else, you can use the natural product. Also, brothers and sisters, don't forget our community watch program. We're also putting that in the feed too. Don't ask the police to do something for you that you can do for yourself. The only one that can control the problems in your community is you. If there's drug dealing in your community, only you can solve that. Police may lock them up, but only you can solve it. You have to put something in their head and their hands other than drugs and give them some desire, inspire them to learn other ways of edifying their mind that don't take a toll on their body. Is that right or wrong? Most people, when they're trying to get high, they're trying to forget. And many of them have come from bad environments. And coming from those bad environments, and they begin to respond to the environment. And if a person is oppressed or depressed, I don't know which one is worse. They're equally bad. But when someone is oppressed or depressed, the challenge for their mental system, the challenge for them mentally is to get out of that situation, to forget, to get some form of relief. And this is where the drug use come in. But now let me say this. We know who's bringing the drugs in the community. Is that right or wrong? I didn't blame anybody, so I don't want anyone saying that I blame someone, saying that someone put the drugs in the community, because you already know that the drugs are being put in our community. You know who's doing it, and it may be, this is just a guess, just a guess. It may be that the one that's arresting you knows so much about it for a reason. I'll put it that way. But my desire, my prayer is that brothers and sisters will stop selling drugs. That brothers and sisters will stop using drugs, and that the Almighty God, the omnipotent, omnipotent, omnipresent God, right? That God that we pray to. When we say to the beneficent, the merciful, all-knowing God, master of the day of requital, Thee do we serve, and thee do we serve alone. Guide us on the right path. So we pray that our God, the God of our ancestors, the God of our land, the God of our history, our custom, our foreways or more ways, that God that has always cared for us, so much so that he put a part of himself in us to guide us between all rights and wrong. Is that right? So we can make a good decision. We pray to that God that he will deliver us. Give us the spirit inside of our religious institutions, inside of our home institutions. Is that right or wrong? Inside of our public institutions that we can create. I mean, black control. Inside of no matter what the business is, that he will reside there too. That he will be in and through and over our community. That God will he's already inspired us, but that he will open our eyes, that we be useful for our community. That's the desire and the prayer. And we need the black man and the black woman for that. And we need them to stick together while they're doing it. Is that right or wrong? So that's the thing that we're praying. And I want to get all these things out so that we'll come into this the right way. And my desire, my prayer is that the black man will pay attention to his own community, because I already know that the answer is within the black man for his own community. No president, white or black, has ever had the power to deliver you. That power relies and resigns only in you. No president can do that. Kamala Harris getting into office, and I said Kamala. I know some people like it's Kamala. To each his own. But irregardless of whether she's white, black, whether he's white, black, or Asian, or whatever they may be, no president has the power to fix your condition. Only you can do that. No person can give you freedom. Right? That's something that you got to stand for, something you got to live for, something in many cases you must be willing to die for in order to live. Right? It's the warrior that fights, right? Who will fight to the death. That's the warrior that will do anything to live. And for too long, as the Democratic Party, I'm going to say it, and the Republican Party too, but the Democratic Party more than anyone has said that your freedom depends on how well you support them. This is the biggest lie going. Biggest lie going. The Republican don't care anything about you either. But all I'm telling you is that God is in control, and God will use Democrat, Republican, third party, whomever it is, to bring about the change that he wants. You and I today are not in chains because God sent along a Messiah to deliver us. See, the Messiah keeps coming. He's reborn every day. He's known by many different names. That's why it says that. You have no understanding. He's known by many different names. Why? He's come through our bloodline. We believe in the resurrection. Is that right? Or reincarnation. Come on, brothers and sisters. We've come too far to turn back now. And we have to have the intelligence that God has given us. Not the intelligence of men, because many of the old leaders in the black community, especially those who played the part of the Tom, the Judas, and the Coon, were too unintelligent to guide us. And even those that were dedicated didn't have and don't have the reach into technology and education the way that we do today, nor the time we have to process it if we will allow God to use us. Is that right or wrong? So I want you to know, when there are some brothers and sisters out there that don't know any better, that are saying, and you ask them, why did you do that? And they say, the devil made me do it. They're telling the truth. If you know who the devil is. If you know who the devil is, they're telling the truth. So, but the fact that your eyes are closed, tell me you don't know what's going on. Now that we've talked about all that and talked about the Community Watch Program, because We need enough black people in the community to watch the community. Also, brothers and sisters, let me say this while I can. We have a business aspect of those who want to learn herbal health. We have a business aspect to that. If you want to learn herbal health, then you can attend Prince Imhotep University. There are very comfortable payments for those that want to learn. And you would do good going back in your community and being someone who's a health professional in your community to help your people. Right? We don't know when the next thing is going to pop out. We just don't know. We hear it in the wind. We hear it in the wind, but we just don't know. And there's been a great conspiracy that suggests the calling of the populations of Earth, that's something that's going on. So, brothers and sisters, be wise. You know, I tell you to be steadfast, unmovable, and always abounding in the work of God. What is God's work? That you would educate the people, that you would heal the people, that you would free the land, heal the sick, give sight to the blind, teach the lame to walk and the dumb to talk. Isn't that right? And only a good word, a gospel of good news can do that. And I'm very happy to say that God has sent many messiahs. And I respect all of those messiahs. Martin Luther King, you know what he was. He was a messiah. Minister Malcolm X, you know what he was. He was a messiah. Is that right or wrong? He was a leader for us during turbulent times. Isn't that right? To keep us focused on righteousness and what God wanted. Is that right or wrong? And so when we look back, we see these leaders. When you see Robert Kennedy, after they learned, right, and was sanctified with the truth, and I'm talking mental sanctification, then they could lead and guide the people on the righteous path, right? When John F. Kennedy was president, right, he could lead and guide people on the righteous path. I don't say this lightly, because standing up for truth can cost you your life. Standing up for justice can cost you your life. But I'd rather stand up than sit down any day. I'd rather stand up than sit in. I'd rather stand up than wade in. I'd rather stand up than lay down and be like Harry Hippie on the ground. Is that right or wrong? But to stand up and to do the will of what is righteous and the will of God is the only thing that I'm concerned about. And if I can do that in this day and time, brother and sister, I'd be happy, because I know that this is the mission of God. So you and I have a job to do. But I want to touch on these things, and I don't understand why so many people have a problem. I do understand it. But they say that this is a country. This is what they say. That this is a country of freedom. They say it's a country of justice. They say it's a country of equality, right? That endorses that. Is that right or wrong? So if it is, shouldn't people be able to make up their minds of what they wanted to do instead of having things pushed on them? I'm just asking. Wanda Sykes was on the media. In other words, she was being watched on the media tonight. And she's a very logical, intelligent comedian. Because she said every time you turn around, they want to put gay people into something. They want to put the LGBTQ into something. She said, if you got something going on, leave us out of it. See, even the some of the more notable people and famous people in the LGBT movement don't want to be put out front like pawns. But that's the goal of the left-wing movement. They're so radical and so all over the place. Just being honest. Don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. And besides, I don't believe that white and black people can truly be friends. Not truly. Maybe politically they can, maybe legally, and maybe even socially they can, because some of them can't keep their hands off of each other. They have to be touching one another in bed, out of bed, in the kitchen, in the living room, and things of that nature. And so I don't believe that they can, because of the history of America, I don't believe that they can legitimately be friends. Same token, The black man hasn't gained anything from civil rights. Certainly hasn't gained anything from civil rights. He's made some grounds in human rights. No gains, just ground right now. But in civil rights, he's made no gains because the amendment, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, has only guaranteed everyone else something out of oppression other than the black man. He's still in bondage, still cast down, still run over, still weighted down. Is that right or wrong? And they're taking him out of his home. Now they're working on the black woman. She's more than anyone else around the globe will catch a heart attack and angina pectoris, which is a stress on the chest muscle, quicker than anyone else, because when they rip the black man out of the home, they put all this weight on her. She's the poster child. They put all the weight on her and expect her to run her home. And then after that, they go in the media and talk about how crazy the black woman is. This is all a tactic. All of it is a tactic to make the black family look dysfunctional, which is one of the most functional families in America. Is that right or wrong? But they go out of their way, and it's the same media, left-wing media, that does it. Because they fight against traditional life, traditional home, traditional families. Is that right or wrong? Right? And when they talk about the black woman, they talk about her as an angry black woman, right? As an angry beast. So, and when they talk about white women, they talk about someone who's supposed to be so organized and so collective, when really is in reverse. It's in reverse, right? But you got to know the devil in disguise. You got to know the devil, brothers and sisters. You got to know that. Now, this country belongs to the devils that created. Why not let them run it? Because as a black man, a black woman, or an immigrant, right? Even though they're using the immigrant against the black man and black woman, you'll never get justice. The only justice you'll get is the justice that you make. But you'll never get justice. You'll never get it. You have to understand that, because you have to know where you are. And besides, and I also want to say this, the immigrants are coming over here and they work for lesser wages and all of that. While you be out of your mind to think that they're your friend. They're not coming here to be your friend. They're coming here to get their peace. And if they got to backstab you to do it, which many of them do, they're going to do that. But today, we're going to talk about the Department of Health and Human Services. And we're going to talk about Roger Severino, who had a problem with Donald Trump's project and Mandate 2025 for leadership. We're going to talk about that. Now, Severino is writing this, that if the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services were a separate country, it's approximate 1.6 trillion. Remember that. Budget would rank as the world's 5th largest national budget. For good or ill, the Health and Human Service activities personally impact the lives of more Americans than do those of any other federal agency, right? Because they provide the means by which the basic family can live. Now, not the basic black family, but that's a whole nother subject. But in hindsight, it does give food and clothing. No, excuse me, food and shelter to black families. So when you think of Section 8 housing, this is Health and Human Services. When you think of assisted living, this is Health and Human Services. You think of food, this is Health and Human Services. You think of programs, transfer programs, all of that. This is Health and Human Services. Education program for single mothers and all this, job program for single mothers and debt participation. All of this is under Health and Human Services. Now, under Trump's should say Trump. Under President Trump's Health and Human Services program, it was dedicated for all the Americans from the conception to natural death, including those individuals and families who face economic and social well-being challenges. Under President Biden, the mission was shifted to promoting equity, so to speak, and everything we do for the sake of the population sharing a particular characteristic, including race, sexuality, gender, identification, ethnicity, and a host of other categories. Now, I told you before, brothers and sisters, in case you forgot, that I don't care how much the left and the extreme left say that they're fighting for the rights of every man, woman, boy, and girl. This is not true. Because all you have to do is look in the black community and find out who passed the laws on 3 strikes you're out. Find out who's putting the drugs in the black community, and find out who's reciprocating people within the, or I should say funneling people within the prison and jail system. I'm just telling you to open your eyes. I'm just telling you to open your eyes. Don't you know that God would be in charge of putting someone over this nation? Since you say you need a leader, some of you believe you need a president, God would establish a president that you know is not good for you, but will set laws in place to protect you. A large part of the black community don't believe in the programs of the left, but the left have usurped through the LGBT movement the momentum of the civil rights struggle. And I'm only telling you because I think you should know. I think you should know, so I tell you. Now, as a result of the Health and Human Services having lost its way, the U.S. life expectancy, instead of returning to the normal after COVID-19, they use COVID-19 pandemic, continued to drop precipitously to lower levels, not seen since 1996. Now, with the white population, this applies. The white population alone lost 7% of their expected lifespan in just 1 year. Nonetheless, the America's long-term survival is at stake. And when they say America's long-term survival, I just want you to understand that you and I are not American, right? Not under them. We may be American African, but we're that by cultural nativity. We're that by customs and religion, spirituality, and spiritual socialism, I'll put it that way, and aboriginal socialism, put it that way. But the white populations are dying and the death have increased so much so that 7% of their expected lifespan is gone. You have to wipe it out. So they are dying at early ages. There's a reason for that. It has nothing to do with a presidency. They're not producing children. And it's not because they can't produce, but it's the lifestyle that many of them are choosing. And then as a result of the lifestyle, a lot of them can't produce. Is that right or wrong? So for a woman to get fertile, she's going to have to be active. Is that right or wrong? So many men and women, white women, are not sleeping together, so they can't produce. And in order to be able to produce, it's like a muscle. That muscle has to be worked. And this is not happening because there's a large part of the white community that is involved in the LGBTQIA movement. Now, according to the Health and Human Services, right, and this is Severino speaking, HHS, or the Health and Human Services, must return to serving the health and well-being of all Americans at all stages of life instead of using social engineering that leave us sicker, poor, and more divided. Now, the last time I checked, it was the whites, whether they be Democrat or Republican, that is pushing for this, I call it euthanasia of babies, but the killing of children through not just eugenics, but the killing of children for Planned Parenthood. When they say the killing of children, they meant black children, but there are whites that are doing this too, and it's backfiring. And if they can't produce, then the numbers will decrease, and then you know what's happening from there, right? The Health and Human Services consists of 11 operating divisions that have varying degrees of practical independence from the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and 15 staff divisions that are directly under the office of the Secretary of the United States. Now, also, this writing has a recommendation that isn't limited to the divisions that most need reform and address wherever possible. 5 cross-cutting goals. We're going to talk about that. The first one is protecting life, conscience, and body integrity. And I'm going to just read a little bit of it. The Secretary should pursue a robust agenda to protect the fundamental rights of life, protect consciousness, right, and uphold the bodily integrity rooted in the biological realities, not ideology. From the moment of conception, every human being possesses inherent dignity and worth, and our humanity does not depend on our age, stage of development, race, or ability. The Secretary must ensure that all Health and Human Service programs and activities are rooted in a deep respect for innocent human life from day one until the natural death. Abortion and euthanasia are not health care. Now, this is a point. This is a misuse of science, and it is a point, right? That's the goal. So what he's doing is these policies are going directly against the left and what they've been campaigning for, so they're angry. Again, what the white man does has no bearing on what we can do for our community. But you have to understand that if you're black and you're being killed, you have no alternative than to go toward life, pro-life. There may be instances and circumstances, but we're not discussing those because those are instances and circumstances. But other than that, you're being killed faster than anyone else can kill anyone. So any person with any sense in that situation would produce. Now, second one, and I want you to understand this, empowering patient choice and provider autonomy. In plain, it means this: the basic economics that hold the costs that tends to decrease, and quality and options that tend to increase, where there is a quote-unquote robust and free competition in the provision of goods and services. Healthcare is no exception. We should have the same thing. You know, blacks are not getting it. You don't even have to discuss it because we already know that black people are not getting this. But healthcare reform should be patient-centered, market-based, and should empower individuals to control their healthcare-related dollars and decisions. Now, I'll go for that. Empowering patient choices and provider autonomy. I'll go for that. If black people took charge of the healthcare in their community, we have a history to be able to take charge of the healthcare in our community. We can do it. The African-centered herbal science and medicine is named and directed that because it allows us to be treated through our own remedies. Brothers and sisters, you've got to wake up. You got to wake up. Now, of course, the providers who deliver the health care also need freedom to address the unique needs of their patient. This is getting to culture. This is getting to nationality. This is getting to ethnocentrism, right? Because what's good for the goose may not be good for the gander. Is that right or wrong? Right? Because even though they look the same, the body still operate a different way. A gander is a male goose, right? And the goose is matriarchic. Is that right or wrong? So we have to be wise. Now, states should be the primary regulators of the medical profession, and the federal government should not restrict providers' ability to discharge their responsibilities or limit their abilities to innovate through government pricing control and irrational Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement scheme. Finally, brothers and sisters, America's broken insurance system should run largely through confusing provider networks and third-party payers, employers inducing overconsumption of health care, limit consumer shopping, and high true costs from patients. The federal government should focus reform on reducing the burden of regulatory compliance, unleashing innovative healthcare delivery, ceasing interference in the daily lives of patients and providers, and allowing the alternative insurance coverage option, and returning control of healthcare dollars to patients making decisions with their providers about the healthcare treatment and services. And I go for that because what's good for the black man, according to his health, may not be good for the white man. And when I say man, I mean genus, but also mean race. So we have to consider that right now, as it is, you have no clear choice on what's good for you as right now. But if you come together as a community, black man and black woman, because we need both of you. Why a black man is out of his mind if he believes that he doesn't need the assistance of his black woman, and vice versa. She's out of her mind if she don't believe that he needs the assistance, that she needs the assistance of her black man. So we're talking about the family unit must come together, and if the parents are together, then the children are united, right? I think the scripture said if the parents are whole, then the children are holy. Is that right or wrong? So we got to learn how to work together. Now, promoting stable, this is goal 3 of Project 2025. Just want to read it to you. And I don't understand how anyone could have a problem with this. Promoting stable and flourishing married families. Families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundations of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. This is the truth because these family units can produce. Now, unfortunately, family policies, programs under President Biden, the Health and Human Services are fraught with agenda items focusing on the LGBTQ equity. Well, it's the truth. There's no sense of you getting angry with me. You know it's true. And subsidizing single motherhood, desensitizing work, and penalizing marriage. These policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of stable married nuclear families. And that's the truth, brothers and sisters. Because if you can't produce, you'll cease to be. And I don't understand it. How someone could not see the biological intelligence, the psychological intelligence, and the sociological intelligence of this. I don't. And the mental intelligence. I don't see how that can be missed by anyone. If you don't produce, you'll cease to be. No. The only ones that will get angry about this is extreme left. And I said that to say this. Kamala Harris would have pushed those agendas. The same Kamala Harris that put black men under the prison that were innocent, 3,000, over 3,000. 300 is just too many. 30 is just too many. 1 is just too many, but 3,000. These young brothers was innocent, but she prosecuted them anyway. We don't have anything in Kamala Harris. Besides, All you got to do is look beside her, see what she's married to, and you understand that she's not for the black man. Now, say what you want to say about Obama, but he had a black wife. I rest my case. I'm not talking racism. I'm talking some common sense to black people that you should see. Fifth thing is this. I want to make sure that we got the fourth one. Fourth one was this. Preparing for the next health care emergency. We've got to be ready for that. There are natural products that the black man are privy to that will help the black people. You have to get familiar with your treatment system, brothers and sisters. Lastly, and not have other stuff pushed on you. And I won't touch that anymore. The last thing is this, instituting greater transparency, accountability, and oversight. The next administration should guard against regulatory capture of our public health agency by pharmaceutical companies, insurers, hospital conglomerates, and related economical interests that these agencies are meant to regulate. Also, brothers and sisters, we must erect robust protection to mitigate obvious financial conflicts of interest within our community. Right? That's all right. Now, this document doesn't go against anything that the black man wants, that the black nation wants, but it does point out what he's not getting when you see there's a control. Even when you turn on your television set and your phones and internet, they show you stuff you don't even care to see. You don't care to see it, but they'll show it to you because they have control. That's all you got to know. They have control. And one thing about a person that has control, they don't want to get out of control. They'll do anything to stay in control. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. And so we've got to be wise for us. Find out what works for the black man. What works for us? Because what works for us may not work for them. But we have to find out what works for us. Brothers and sisters, you've been great. And I hope that I've said something to help you. I pray that anything I said to hurt you would move you to do greater. And yes, I said Kamala Harris is not for the black family. All you have to do is look at her policies. Trump is not for us either. Right? But at least he's no hypocrite. Now, someone is probably saying, well, you're saying all the Democratic Party hypocrites. I'm calling every politician a hypocrite. When you don't allow the laws and systems to really work for the common good of all that you call American citizens. But I know that the black man is not a citizen. We're only 21st century slaves. Right? And just because our prison is lined with gold, don't cause it to keep us in bondage any less. So I just wanted to say that. But I'm so thankful for you today. Thankful for the time, brothers and sisters, that you've given to this. It's very important that you get on God's side. Because if you get on God's side, then God will be on your side. Is that right or wrong? So we've got to get on the side of God, and we've got to do the will of God, that we may make it, right, in this day and this time. You and I have to do that. You and I have to do that. No one can do it for us. They can't make us free. No one can clean up our communities. No one can give us the sermons that we should have to edify our mind, body, and soul. Nobody can do that for us but us. We've got to get up, and we got to get moving. And we've got to ride the waves of the climate as every other nation does, and make it work for us. You and I, brothers and sisters, have to do that in this day and time. That's what you and I have to do. And if it's been a long time. We've been sleeping in a most difficult hour. Sleeping in a most difficult hour. And it's been a long time. But now is the time. This is the day, brothers and sisters, that we jump in and do God's will, and already know that God has already set those aside that's ready to listen to us, that we might get in these study groups and start small to correct our community. That we in our community, with this focus, that we start our clothing stores in the community, in somebody's house. Levi Jeans and start, as it is today, it's a giant. Before that, they started selling things out of their house. Walmart, Sam Walton, this started the way that he is today. Today, he's a multi-billionaire. But yesterday, he started out of his house, out of his barn. Out of his house and out of his barn. So any Chick-fil-A, look at it. He didn't start out the way that he started out, what you see today. Neither did McDonald's. Is that right or wrong? But they started somewhere, and that's in the black community. We've got to start somewhere. We are some of the best cooks, seamstresses, inventors, car lot owners, real estate people in the world. Whatever we touch turn to gold because God is with us. Is that right or wrong? The white man couldn't have even eat. Is that right or wrong? He couldn't have even eaten, right, as your master if the slave hadn't prepared the meal for him to eat or plant the crops to reap. Is that right or wrong? So you and I are intelligent, brothers and sisters. We're intelligent people. That's what we are. We're intelligent, beautiful people called of God. We are God. We belong to God, and we are God's. Is that right or wrong? And God has given us the intelligence to deliver everyone on this planet. But now it's time for us to deliver ourselves. We have to deliver ourselves being steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of righteousness, which is the work of God. Is that right or wrong? So, brothers and sisters, I thank you. Appreciate you for sharing this time with us. And if I didn't say it in the beginning, I say it to you now. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. May God keep you, may He bless you, and may He guide you through all things. Give you the wisdom that you need and be able to disperse the knowledge from your lips to those who are in need. So thank you again, and peace be unto you.